evening. Confrontational politics seems to be becoming a hallmark of the Mamata Banerjee government in West Bengal. In yet another instance of confrontation with the centre, neither did she attend nor did she allow any state government official to participate in Prime Minister Narendra Modi's review meeting on Cyclone Yaas. This prevented the meeting from happening. This comes days after she prevented district magistrates from West Bengal from sharing their experience in combating the pandemic in the state with the Prime Minister. In focus tonight is politics over calamity. West Bengal Chief Minister skips a cyclone review meeting with PM. Also on the show, PM Modi undertook aerial survey of Cyclone Yaas affected areas in Orissa and West Bengal and announced a financial assistance of 1,000 crore rupees for immediate relief activities. That and more in this edition of News Night. I'm Munmun Bhattacharya. Let's get started with the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi undertakes aerial survey of Cyclone Yaas affected areas in Orissa and West Bengal, announces financial assistance of 1,000 crore rupees for immediate relief activities, 2 lakh rupees ex gratia to be given to the next of kin of the dead, and 50,000 rupees to the injured. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee skips a review meeting on Cyclone Yaas with PM, Governor Jagdeep Dhankar, Home Minister Amit Shah, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and BJP President JP Nadda condemn Mamata's conduct, say such boycott is not in consonance with the Constitution and federalism. Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar says COVID-19 vaccination will complete in India by December this year, says Congress leader Rahul Gandhi is stoking fears and should be concerned about the Congress-ruled states that have not been able to lift their quota from vaccine manufacturers. Declining trend and active COVID cases continue in India. Daily new cases are the lowest in 44 days, less than 3 lakh daily new cases recorded for the 12th straight day. Recovery rate rises to 90.34%. Cumulative vaccine coverage exceeds 20.86 crore, more than 22 crore 46 lakh vaccine doses provided to states and union territories. In Delhi, unlocking process to begin from Monday in a phased manner. Factories and construction activities to resume in the national capital. Maharashtra government cancels class 10th board exam for the year 2021. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman chairs the 43rd GST Council meeting through video conferencing in New Delhi. 7 key decisions taken. Import of medicine amphotericin B for treatment of black fungus to be included in exemption list. Centre to borrow 1.58 lakh crore and pass it on to states like last year. GOM to be formed for any new GST rates on COVID-related items and GOM to submit report in 10 days. In the stock markets, Nifty ends at a record closing high of 15,436. Reliance Industries surges nearly 6%. In international news, Japan extends a state of emergency in Tokyo and other areas to the 20th of June ahead of Summer Olympic Games. Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga says new case numbers are still high in many areas. Olympics organizers and IOC say Games would go ahead under strict virus prevention measures. Britain's medicine regulator approves Johnson & Johnson's COVID-19 vaccine for use, making it the 4th COVID-19 shot available for use in the country. Prime Minister Boris Johnson says this is another boost to the vaccination program. Straight to our top focus tonight, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited Orissa and West Bengal to review the situation arising out of Cyclone Yaas, assuring both states as well as Jharkhand of all possible help from the union government. The Prime Minister expressed his complete solidarity with all those who've suffered due to the cyclone and expressed deep sorrow to the families who've lost their kin during the calamity. He announced an ex gratia of 2 lakh rupees to the next of kin of the dead and 50,000 rupees to the seriously injured in the cyclone.
Very severe cyclonic storm Yaas lashed coastal West Bengal and Orissa close on the heels of Cyclone Yaas. Within 48 hours of Yaas making landfall, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was in Bhubaneswar to chair a review meeting of the relief and rehabilitation measures being undertaken. The Prime Minister was briefed that maximum damage due to Cyclone Yaas happened in Orissa, and some parts of West Bengal and Jharkhand have also been affected. Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced a financial assistance of 1,000 crore rupees for immediate relief activities. Rupees 500 crore would be given immediately to Odisha. Another rupees 500 crores has been announced for West Bengal and Jharkhand, which will be released on the basis of the damage. An interministerial team will visit the states to assess the extent of damage, based on which further assistance will be given. He undertook an aerial survey of the cyclone-affected areas in Bhadrak and Baleshwar districts of Orissa and Purba Midnapur in West Bengal. He assured the people of both states as well as Jharkhand that the union government would closely work with the state governments at this difficult time, extending all possible assistance for restoration and rebuilding of infrastructure in the affected areas. Prime Minister said that we have to continue to focus towards more scientific management of disasters, as the frequency and impact of cyclonic systems are increasing in the Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal. Communication systems, mitigation efforts and preparedness have to undergo a major change. He also spoke about the importance of building trust among people for better cooperation in relief efforts. PM Modi appreciated the preparedness and disaster management activities by the Odisha government, which has resulted in minimal loss of life. He also noted that the state has embarked on long-term mitigation efforts for dealing with such natural disasters. Disaster management has been given emphasis by the Finance Commission too, by provisioning for mitigation funds to the tune of rupees 30,000 crores. Bureau Report, DD India.
West Bengal Governor Jagdeep Dhankar has slammed Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee for not participating in the review meeting to assess damage caused by Cyclone Yaas by the Prime Minister. Governor said in a series of tweets that it would have served interests of the state and its people for CM and officials as well as Mamata Banerjee to attend a review meeting by the Prime Minister. Confrontational stance ill serves interests of state or democracy. Non-participation by the CM and officials is not in sync with constitutionalism or rule of law. It would have been in the interest of the state if CM and officials had participated in the review meet with Prime Minister. It's difficult to appreciate that no official was present in the review meeting and no meeting took place between the PM and the CM, much less a one-to-one meeting. Such confrontation has no place in democracy. These are a series of tweets, in fact, by the Governor of West Bengal. Also, Home Minister Amit Shah lashed out at Mamata Banerjee. In a tweet, he said that Mamata Didi's conduct today is an unfortunate low. Cyclone Yaas has affected several common citizens and the need of the hour is to assist those affected. Sadly, Didi has put arrogance above public welfare and today's petty behavior reflects that. He further tweeted, the Cyclone Yaas has affected several common citizens and the need of the hour is to assist those affected. Sadly, Didi has put arrogance above public welfare and today's petty behavior reflects that. Well, BJP President JP Nadda also hit out at West Bengal Chief Minister for her absence from the PM's meeting. Nadda in a tweet said that when Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi stands strong with the citizens of West Bengal in the wake of Cyclone Yaas, Mamata ji should also set aside her ego for the welfare of people. Her absence from the PM's meeting is murder of constitutional ethos and the culture of cooperative federalism. PM Narendra Modi ji holds the principle of cooperative federalism very sacred and has been actively working with all CMs irrespective of party to give relief to the people. Unsurprisingly, Mamata ji's tactics and petty politics has once again come to haunt the people of Bengal. And this should also act as an eye-opener for those who never understood the true definition of fascism. This is a tweet that has been put out by Union Minister Prakash Javadekar, further saying that considering oneself as the be-all and end-all in a democratic setup is the biggest disservice that an elected representative can do to the people. This should also act as an eye-opener for those who never understood the true definition of fascism. Considering oneself as the be-all and end-all in a democratic setup is the biggest disservice that an elected representative can do to the people who have elected her. So, all-round condemnation coming in from the centre as well as from the Governor of West Bengal. Senior BJP leader and Union Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad also hit out at Mamata Banerjee for boycotting the meeting. In a series of tweets, he said that today, Chief Minister of West Bengal, Mamata Banerjee, boycotted the meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who was visiting the state to give a helping hand to suffering people of Bengal due to the cyclone. Such a conduct by a Chief Minister of a state is totally regrettable and deplorable. The Prime Minister is an institution and is the head of the Government of India. Bringing political divide during such humanitarian crisis is very unfortunate. And that brings us to our In Focus tonight, which is politics over calamity. West Bengal Chief Minister skips a cyclone review meeting with PM. And to discuss that, we are being joined by two journalists, R. Rajagopalan, senior journalist, and Sanjay Singh, senior journalist. So look at the events as they panned out. Mr. Rajagopalan, I'll come to you first. When the Prime Minister arrived in West Bengal to attend the review meeting, no one was present. Both the Chief Minister and the Chief Secretary were in the premises, but none of them came to receive the Prime Minister. Then the Chief Minister suddenly storms in and hands over a bunch of papers on the cyclone impact to Prime Minister, and then says she is leaving, and she prevents officers like the Chief Secretary and Home Secretary from making a presentation. Is this an unprecedented blow to propriety and federalism?
It is. What you described is absolutely correct. The protocols have been given a go-by. And apart from that, Madam, my understanding, having observed the parliament system and also the Chief Minister, Prime Minister relationship, when Mr. Narendra Modi wanted this as a Team India, he went ahead, despite during elections previous month and 2 months before, each of them, Mamata Banerjee and Prime Minister, due to their political rivalry, have spoken their mind. Despite that, Prime Minister went and spoken to her on her election as the Chief Minister, and also getting the Trinamool Congress a resounding victory. So this all helping hand came from Prime Minister Narendra Modi for the last 2 months. But during the 2 months, if you watch the movements of Madam Mamata Banerjee, she ignored the constitutional authority of governor. The governor is a representative of the center. She insulted the center by ignoring governor. Now she is openly declaring an unofficial war against the center. 130 crore people elected Narendra Modi as Prime Minister. At least Mamata Banerjee, I don't want to be very rude on that. You are very mercurial. You should have controlled your, personal arrogance. I am taking the word of the arrogance from Nadda's tweet. So therefore, they should have, a compromise formula worked out. Suvendu Adhikari, the leader of opposition, was recognized by the Speaker of West Bengal Assembly. And she does not know that. She is more angry on why West Bengal leader of opposition should be invited. And this Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, why are you having him? So she is questioning the list of participants, not the contents. She is not interested in the cyclone relief. She says 20,000 crores de do. Ye kya? He says like a banker. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in the ATM. Wherever you go and push the card and take the money. It's not like that. Madam Mamata Banerjee, you have insulted the people of West Bengal, Rabindranath Tagore, and the Vivekananda type of illustrious citizens of West Bengal have been insulted by you are not going to receive the Prime Minister. Apart from that, Mamata Banerjee has a lot of time to go and stage a dharna in front of CBI office when 4 MLAs and 2 ministers were taken by the CBI. She staged 6 hours dharna there. And you have a time to spend more time in CBI headquarters, which is irrelevant. You are blocking the judicial inquiry. And now when you are required for a protocol, you are not going. And second
Yes.
thing, my last submission is that Prime Minister wanted to help the genuine grief. The grief
Yes.
of...
We'll expand on that point, Mr. Rajagopalan, in a bit. Let me bring in Sanjay Singh at this point in time.
So many times, they have lost it. But despite
Yes.
that, my understanding, madam, Mamata Banerjee should have behaved very well. She should have shown her, peace of mind. She is mercurial. This is going to affect her in Bhawanipur because she lost in, Nandigram.
Okay,
Now,
fair
I
enough.
hear-
Sanjay Singh, do you agree with what Mr. Rajagopalan is saying, that this is an unprecedented blow to federalism? Also, in your journalistic career, have you come across a chief minister who repeatedly refuses to attend meetings, refuses to allow officials to participate in the meetings? She did not even allow the district magistrate of one of the districts of West Bengal to share his experience on handling the COVID-19 pandemic in a meeting with the Prime Minister. There is a lot of meetings that she has not attended since 2014 that were called by the Prime Minister. Isn't this unprecedented?
Unfortunately, I couldn't actually hear what Mr. Rajagopalan was saying. What you said, paraphrased him, and besides whatever else you said, I definitely agree with that, 100% in fact. See, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Mamata Banerjee as Chief Minister of West Bengal, they are maybe individuals, but they also are institutions in the sense that the post that they occupy. They are elected representative. Prime Minister is head of executive for the nation, and he heads the government. As such, Prime Minister was there. West Bengal is part of India. So long as West Bengal is part of India, Prime Minister has every right, and as also some would say the duty, to go there, make an on-spot assessment. Not many people have this courage and conviction, or also the inclination and the will to go to the troubled spot, make an on-spot assessment on their own. I'm talking in terms of prime ministers in the past, and hold review meetings with chief minister of different states. Prime Minister, without since the time he occupied office, one can check on that count, he has visited, I think, almost all states whenever such calamity has happened in any state, irrespective of which government was in power in that particular state. Having said that, what this also implies that federal structure of this country, as enshrined in our constitution, remain intact. Center and state work with federal cooperative federalism in best interest of people of that particular state and people of the nation. In this particular case, what Mamata Banerjee has said and what you asked, in my journalistic career, I have never seen such an incident happening, nor could one have imagined before this particular incident took place in Kolkata this afternoon, where Chief Minister did not receive Prime Minister. Fine, there could be an ego issue. Chief Minister was there in the premises, not there to receive him. Fine. But Chief Minister not attending a meeting when Prime Minister was there in Kolkata, Chief Minister informed well in advance. State machinery had prepared a presentation from Prime Minister and Chief Minister. Chief Minister not allowing that, making Prime Minister and Governor wait for half an hour and storm into this thing, present a bunch of papers, hand over a bunch of papers and say, I have other engagements to carry on. See these papers.
Yes.
This is not.
Mr. Rajagopalan,
You may have your egos,
absolutely.
You may have your political agendas, and remember, Mamata Banerjee, if you are trying to be sole opposition or take a pole position against Prime Minister Narendra Modi, there are too many contenders for that spot, even in opposition. Please first think of people of West Bengal, think of people of this nation, first think of governance, and then, even then, do not indulge, do not try to or ever repeat this kind of politics.
Yes, Mr. Rajagopalan, we are aware that there were supposed to be 2 review meetings. Only one happened. The one happened in Bhubaneswar was with Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik. So there is, on the one hand, a Chief Minister who's meeting the Prime Minister, review meeting happens, a decision is taken. On the other hand, there's another Chief Minister who chooses to keep partisan politics above welfare of people. I mean, should elected chief ministers really learn from their compatriots elsewhere in other parts of the country?
Yes, you are right. Mr. Naveen Patnaik has shown his exemplary courtesy to the Prime Minister. That is why he is very accommodative with the centre. You should be very, really opposition is needed in the country. But not like Mamata Banerjee's mercurial thing, She, suppose the anger of Mamata Banerjee, from her act, what I understood is, she is angry on two invitations. One is to Mr. Suvendu Adhikari and also to Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary. Thereby, Prime Minister has a magnanimity. He called the opposition to understand what is the void. And he also called the district magistrate of affected districts so that he understands. Suppose if she costs 20,000 crores and the Prime Minister, the central team will decide and they have to apprise the central team. Apart from that, the reason for Suvendu Adhikari is to understand it, not against Mamata Banerjee. Tomorrow if West Bengal Assembly meets, Suvendu Adhikari, Mamata Banerjee will come eyeball to eyeball. So what is that? She cannot, Mamata Banerjee in her imperious arrogance, has not only tried to dictate the protocol and agenda of a meeting to be held by the Prime Minister, but also dismisses the very essence of democracy by trying to throttle the voice of opposition. She throttled the voice of opposition of BJP. That is why she is called a mercurial, dramatic, and ill-tempered Chief Minister of a state. She should behave properly in the interest of Bengali citizens. Bengalis should have more benefit from the centre. Do not feel like that, Madam Mamata Banerjee. You are an elected Chief Minister. Do not show disrespect to a chair of Prime Minister. Occupy the chair. You can have any differences of opinion with the BJP, but for another 3 years, they are going to rule the country and you are going to negotiate with them for any central assistance. Therefore, today Mamata Banerjee's thing, as per the tweets of senior BJP leaders and also Congress leaders, for interest, Congress has also condemned this. Therefore, my understanding is Madam Mamata Banerjee lost her balance.
Okay, you are going to the extent of saying that. Mr. Singh, can one draw a contrast here between the approach of Mamata Banerjee towards opposition in the state and the approach that the centre has had towards the opposition here in Delhi, considering that several acts were amended to give more say to the opposition, even though as per rules the Congress was not entitled to the leader of opposition post, yet we looked at how decisions were taken to amend various legislations and give a bigger voice, a greater say to the opposition in matters like the selection of the CBI or the CBI selection committee. Necessary changes were made. So do you see a contrast here?
Yeah, definitely. Democracy runs with a bit of consensus. Of course, confrontation and conflict of opinion is there, and we see that happening within and outside of Parliament. But CBI appointment of CBI chief, as you mentioned, is latest example of that. And the earlier provision said leader of opposition will be member of that particular committee, 3-member committee. And this committee, this kind of committees are there for so many posts, and on so many occasions, this particular provision was there in the statute. But thereafter, when Congress could not occupy leader of opposition post, of course, that was amended to say that the opposition, the leader of the party which has largest number in opposition ranks, and therefore Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary is participating. Previously, Mallikarjun Kharge was participating in such meetings. Beyond that, opposition has a role to play. And this was not that it was only in West Bengal that leader of opposition was called. It was also in Orissa, the leader of opposition was called, because a calamity like this involves contribution of all people of the state, also elected representatives. They have certain things to opine for. Prime Minister is Prime Minister for the country, of all the people. And therefore, it was nice on the part of Prime Minister to have called for leader of opposition in West Bengal and also in Orissa. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary was also called as, I think, President of Congress Party West Bengal, but he could not attend. Orissa leader of opposition was suffering from COVID, so he could not attend. Subhendu Adhikari attended. Perhaps that was also a trigger point for Mamata Banerjee, because she may have won Bengal election, but own election against Subhendu Adhikari. So that would be an ego issue trigger. That should not have happened, because these things, win and losses are part of processes. Somebody could be occupying a certain chair today, may not be there tomorrow. Loss for the state is humongous. Look at the contrasting situation that you are talking about with neighboring state Orissa. He is not BJP. In yesteryears, he was part of NDA government, NDA, as was Mamata Banerjee. But since then, he also had chosen his own path. But for development of his state, for development, for welfare of his own people in Orissa, he has been cooperating with the center, and center is cooperating with him.
Yes,
Today,
yes.
that was an excellent example as to how center and state together would come forward to mitigate sufferings of the people, for relief and for rehabilitation. If at all Mamata Banerjee is trying to make her projection larger than life, and as principal leader of opposition, I'm sorry, she is mistaken. And also people of Orissa, people of West Bengal do not take kindly to it. She may have won elections, this assembly election, but yes, people would certainly not like it.
Okay, Mr. Rajagopalan wants to comment at this point in time.
Yeah.
Also, this is simply not an occasion to do partisan politics. Would you agree that there are different avenues and opportunities and occasions for partisan politics? A national tragedy is definitely not an occasion, or a natural tragedy is definitely not an occasion. What would you say?
Yeah, you are right, madam. You are absolutely right. When country is crossing a path of pandemic, on the top of it another cyclone, last week another cyclone, we are having earthquakes, this type of natural calamities are happening, and you cannot, Mamata Banerjee, keep Prime Minister and Governor waiting for more than half an hour for the West Bengal representatives to turn up. And second thing, Madam Mamata Banerjee, callous, arrogant, and supremely unmindful of the welfare of her state. An unprecedented blow to the propriety and federalism due to Mamata Banerjee's such type of mercurial behavior. The reason being, she should have understood the Prime Minister is not for, suppose if Prime Minister did not turn up to West Bengal, no one would have questioned him. Then Mamata Banerjee would have questioned why you have not come. Now you are asking her to come and asking 20,000 crores. You don't turn up to the meeting. That means you ignore the constitutional position what you are holding, madam. Your behavior was not in tune with the constitutional requirements of a chief minister, and ignoring the prime minister, you ignored the 130 crores of Indians by showing a disrespect to the chair of prime minister, not Narendra Modi, to the chair of prime minister, because Mamata Banerjee has shown her utter arrogance today.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, we will conclude this discussion. Thank you, Mr. Rajagopalan and Sanjay Singh, for having joined us for this. Let's move on now. India is continuing to register a declining trend in active COVID-19 cases. Cumulative vaccine coverage has exceeded 20.86 crore. Daily new cases are now the lowest in 44 days. Less than 3 lakh daily new cases have been recorded for the 12th straight day. Recovery rate has also risen to over 90%. Meanwhile, Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar rebutted Congress leader Rahul Gandhi's claims on the vaccination exercise, saying he is stoking fears and should be concerned about the Congress-ruled states that have not been able to lift their quota from vaccine manufacturers. Here's more.
On the one hand, vaccination drive is going on across the country at a fast pace. On the other, leaders of opposition parties are indulging in politics over the vaccination issue. Senior BJP leader and Union Minister Prakash Javadekar lashed out at Congress leader Rahul Gandhi for his remarks against India's vaccination policy and termed it as insensitive and baseless. He said the Congress party is trying to thrive on grounds of fear. He attacked the opposition party for continuously raising doubt over country's ability to handle the situation. Hitting out at Rahul Gandhi for calling out the government's COVID management strategy as drama, Prakash Javadekar asked him to advise Congress-ruled states to properly utilize the ventilators and medical equipment provided to them by the centre.
राहुल गांधी का प्रेस बयान सुन के सारा देश उनकी भर्त्सना कर रहा है, क्योंकि टूल किट का स्क्रिप्ट के अनुसार उन्होंने आज प्रधानमंत्री की नौटंकी इस शब्द का उपयोग किया। जब प्रधानमंत्री देश की पूरी जनता के साथ कोविड का सामना कर रहे, तब ये नौटंकी शब्द का उपयोग करते हैं ऐसे प्रयासों का, ये देश का और जनता का अपमान है। बताना चाहूंगा, हम उनकी नौटंकी ऐसा शब्द नहीं यूज करेंगे क्योंकि उनकी नौटंकी जनता ने कब की बंद कर दी है।
Javadekar informed that the centre has so far provided over 22 crores COVID vaccine doses to the states and UTs totally free of cost. He also informed that the Union Health Ministry has already chalked out a plan to vaccinate over 100 crore people by the end of this year. Highlighting the success of India's largest and fastest vaccination program, Javadekar asserted that the centre is leaving no stone unturned to scale up procurement and manufacture of COVID vaccines in the country.
प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने खुद कोवैक्सीन इंजेक्शन लेकर ही जब उनका नंबर आया तब उन्होंने शुरुआत की। पत्रकार वार्ता में स्वास्थ्य विभाग ने दिसंबर तक 216 करोड़ डोसेस यानी 108 करोड़ लोगों का वैक्सीनेशन कैसे होगा, इसका पूरा खाका दिया है। कोविशील्ड, कोवैक्सीन, झाइडस कैडिला, नोवावैक्स।
The government has rejected the news related to shortage of medicines in the fight against the pandemic. On Friday, 50,000 vials of amphotericin B, which is helpful in the treatment of black fungus, reached Mumbai. Minister of State for Chemicals and Fertilizers, Mansukh Mandavia, said that the government is making all efforts to ensure that amphotericin B is available in the country as per its requirement. The centre on Friday said its COVID-19 helpline is helping rural India overcome its lack of technology and get vaccination slots on priority. While speaking to media, National Health Authority NHA head R.S. Sharma said in order to ensure that system is inclusive, NHA has opened 1075 call centres where one can call and book appointments. He said that the district magistrates and primary health centre employees are playing an important role in making people aware about the vaccination drive and its importance.
The only thing is that continue to vaccinate people and continue to provide us real-time information related to vaccination, download certificate, and also provide us the information relating to adverse impacts, which is required and which is, you know, a public policy or public health perspective, which is important for us to know as to the adverse reactions, what type they are, which vaccine creates them, and you know, so as to analyze the data in policy decisions.
Meanwhile, there is good news in the fight against COVID-19. The pharma company, which manufactures DRDO's 2DG anti-COVID drugs, would provide it to the government hospitals, central and state governments at a discounted price. It is noteworthy that Dr. Reddy's has fixed the price of the drug at 990 rupees per sachet. Active cases of COVID-19 in the country have come down to 23,43,152. After reaching its peak on 10th May 2021, COVID-19 active cases are on a declining trend. Daily new cases are lowest in 44 days and there are less than 3 lakh daily new cases for 12 consecutive days. In the last 24 hours, 1,86,364 new cases of infection were registered, and in this period, 2,59,459 people recovered from the pandemic. Bureau Report, DD India.
And some states in India look set to relax COVID-related restrictions. In Delhi, unlocking process is to begin from Monday in a phased manner. Factories and construction activities are to resume in the national capital. And the lockdown in Maharashtra is scheduled to end on the 1st of June, even as the state government cancelled Class 10 board exam for the year 2021. And Class 10 result will now be declared on the basis of marks obtained by students in internal examination of Class 9 and 10. Here's a roundup on the COVID action plan from states.
Fight against coronavirus continues unabated across the country. With the declining COVID cases across the country, some states are contemplating to give relaxation in lockdown rules. In Delhi, Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal announced on Friday that the unlocking process will begin from May 31st in a phased manner. Beginning Monday, factories in the national capital will be allowed to resume work. Construction activities have also been allowed to start in Delhi. The lockdown in Maharashtra is scheduled to end on June 1st. However, State Health Minister Rajesh Tope has indicated that the situation will be reviewed and the government may relax rules in non-containment zones. Maharashtra Education Department has announced financial help to class 1 to 12 students who lost their parents due to COVID-19. Also, the results of class 10th board exams will be based on internal exams conducted in class 9th and 10th. For admission in class 11th, students will have to appear for the entrance examination. The results will be announced at the end of June.
11th के एडमिशन के लिए जो है हम एक कॉमन सीटी का जो है प्रावधान कर रहे हैं, जिसमें सभी बोर्ड के बच्चे अपेयर हो सकते हैं और सीटी का दे सकते हैं, लेकिन ये ऑप्शनल है। जो सीटी में बैठने वाले बच्चे हैं उनको पहला प्रेफरेंस दिया जाएगा 11th के एडमिशन के लिए, और जिनको अंतर्गत मूल्यमापन से मार्क्स मिले हैं उनके लिए जो है वो जो रिक्त जगह बचेगी उसको उन पर जगह दी जाएगी। और सपोज कोई अगर सोचता है कि मुझे ये मार्क्स जो इंटरनल मार्क्स मिले हैं इसमें मुझे इम्प्रूवमेंट करना है या मैं इससे सेटिस्फाइड नहीं हूँ, तो उन बच्चों के लिए हमने 2 प्रावधान रखे हैं कि वो बच्चे 2 एग्जामिनेशन के लिए आ सकते हैं, लेकिन जब कोविड परिस्थिति सामान्य होगी तब।
Uttar Pradesh has seen a sharp decline in the number of active cases of COVID-19 in less than 1 month. Along with healthcare workers, many police personnel also lost their lives due to COVID. A special compensation will be given to the families of those police personnel who died in the fight against COVID-19.
पुलिस महानिदेशक मुख्यालय से सभी हमारे फील्ड के जितने भी यूनिट्स हैं उनको ये निर्देशित किया गया है कि जल्द से जल्द इनके जो अनुदान राशि मिलनी है उसका निपटारा किया जाए, तथा इसके साथ साथ जो हमारे विभाग के अंदर जो मृतक आश्रित नियमावली के अंतर्गत नौकरी देने का प्राविधान है उसको भी एक्सपेडाइट किया जाए, ताकि हमारे जो ऐसे पुलिसकर्मी जिन्होंने अपने प्राण निछावर किए हैं उनके परिवारजनों को किसी तरह का कोई आर्थिक कठिनाई न आने पाए। और इसका अनुश्रवण प्रतिदिन शीर्षस्थ स्तर से किया जाता है और इसकी रिपोर्ट हम लोग प्रतिदिन फील्ड से लेते हैं।
In these tough times, a heartwarming picture of humanity came from Uttarakhand's Pithoragarh, where SDRF personnel helped an 82-year-old woman. The Jawans completed a 7-kilometer trek to take the old lady suffering from COVID reach the hospital on time. Such examples give us courage and strengthen the country and strengthen the country's resolve that together we can win the war against the pandemic. Bureau Report, DD India.
Well, the Government of India has clarified that it has been supporting the efforts of states and union territories for an effective vaccination drive under the whole of government approach since the 16th of January this year. In order to streamline the availability of the vaccine doses, the centre has been constantly in touch with vaccine manufacturers and has opened up different procurement options for states and union territories since May 2021. There have been some unfound media reports on unaccounted vaccine doses of Bharat Biotech. These reports are incorrect and are not supported by full information on the matter. The claims of Bharat Biotech having 6 crore doses is an error of comprehension among some quarters reporting the matter. The current production capacity of indigenously developed Covaxin will be developed by May and June 2021. then increased nearly 6 to 7-fold by July-August 2021, increasing the production from 1 crore vaccine doses in April this year to 6 to 7 crore vaccine doses per month in July-August period. It is expected to reach nearly 10 crore doses per month by September 2021. This capacity augmentation of Covaxin, carried out under Atmanirbhar Bharat 3.0 mission COVID Suraksha, was announced by the Government of India and implemented by Department of Biotechnology of the Government of India to accelerate the development and production of indigenous COVID vaccines. Union Minister for Education Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank has approved the proposal to provide monetary assistance to 11.8 crore students through direct benefit transfer of the cooking cost component of the midday meal scheme to all eligible children as a special welfare measure. This will give a fillip to the midday meal program. This is in addition to the Government of India's announcement of distribution of free of cost food grains. 5 kgs per person per month to nearly 80 crore beneficiaries under Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana. This decision will help safeguard the nutritional levels of children and aid in protecting their immunity during the challenging pandemic times. The central government will provide additional funds of about 1,200 crore rupees to state governments and UT administrations for this purpose. This is a one-time special welfare measure of the union government and will benefit about 11.8 crore children studying in class 1 to 8th in the 11.2 lakh government and government aided schools across India. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, who is in the US, held a meeting with America's Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin on Friday. He said a comprehensive conversation about further developing strategic and defense partnership was held. Both the leaders exchanged views on contemporary security challenges and expressed appreciation of the US military role in responding to the COVID situation. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, while briefing the media after chairing the 43rd GST Council meeting on Friday, said that the issue of relief to be given on COVID-related equipment was deliberated upon extensively in Friday's meeting. The focus was to consider to pass on the relief given to the common man. Nirmala Sitharaman said that the Council has decided to exempt the import of COVID-related relief items from IGST till the 31st of August 2021. Amphotericin B, used in the treatment of black fungus, has been included in the exempted category.
With the rising cases of black fungus, a particular medicine which is required for it, called amphotericin B, has also been included into the exemption list. The Council has decided to exempt the import of relief items, even if they are purchased, if these are meant for donating to the government or on recommendation of the state authority to any relief agency.
The Finance Minister informed that the centre will borrow 1.58 lakh crores and will be passed on to states like last year. The GST Council felt that it was not the appropriate time for correction in inversion duty on GST compensation cess. The Finance Minister said the same formula as last year will be adopted this year as well. She added that a group of ministers will consider these suggestions and submit the report by the 8th of June for further rate decisions.
I have decided and announced in the Council to have a group of ministers quickly formed who will submit their report within 10 days, which is 8th of June, on or before 8th June, so that if there are any further reductions which need to be done, will be done. In the sense, the rates will be decided by them. So, in a way, the exemptions that we had been given, but any new rates will now be decided by them.
Nirmala Sitharaman further said that one of the biggest decisions of the meeting was reduction of compliance burden of small taxpayers and medium-sized taxpayers.
Relief to the small taxpayers. An amnesty scheme has been recommended for reducing the late fee payable in these cases. So a large number of taxpayers will benefit from it, because our rough assessment is about 89% of the GST paying or 89% of the GST taxpayers constitute small taxpayers.
The domestic stock markets ended with good gains on Friday. The Nifty at the National Stock Exchange rose 98 points or 0.6% to a record closing high of 15,436. The Nifty also hit an intraday record high of 15,470. The Sensex at the Bombay Stock Exchange gained 308 points or 0.6% to close at 51,423. The biggest contributor to the rally was Reliance Industries, which surged nearly 6% on the back of heavy volumes. But the broader market lost ground, with the BSE mid-cap index dropping 0.1% and the small-cap index declining 0.5%. Now some more news from across the country in News at a Glance.
The Supreme Court on Friday adjourned the hearing on a plea seeking cancellation of 2021 Class 12 CBSE and ICSE board exams. The court will resume hearing on Monday. The Delhi High Court gave 3 more weeks' time to Robert Vadra to respond to a notice issued by the Income Tax Department. The court also said that the Income Tax Department can continue with the proceedings but cannot issue the final order. A terrorist was killed in an encounter by the security forces in South Kashmir, Shopian. The security forces also launched operation to hunt for other terrorists. Meanwhile, security forces also arrested an active terrorist for Kulgam. 11 people died after consuming illicit liquor in Uttar Pradesh, Aligarh. The alleged poisonous alcohol was sold by a shop which had the license to sell liquor.
In international news, Japan's government on Friday extended a coronavirus emergency in Tokyo and other parts of the country until just a month before the Olympics that are scheduled to begin on the 23rd of July. Even as IOC President Thomas Bach said 80% of the 10,500 athletes expected in Japan would be vaccinated. Tokyo 2020 Organizing Committee President informed that pledges have been received from India and 5 other countries to vaccinate all their Olympic delegates. The games as of now look set to go ahead, though under strict virus prevention measures.
Just ahead of the Tokyo Olympics, scheduled to begin on the 23rd of July in Tokyo, the Japanese Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga extended a state of emergency to rein in COVID infections. The emergency, that was due to end on the 31st of May, would be extended till the 20th of June. The state of emergency in the capital and 8 other prefectures had been scheduled to end on May 31. During a coronavirus task force meeting, Prime Minister Suga said that although the infections in Tokyo, Osaka and other places are on the decline, the new case numbers are still high.
Although the infections in Tokyo, Osaka and others are on a downward trend, the new case numbers are still high. In places like Osaka, hospitals continue to be under strain. Hokkaido and Okinawa are seeing continuous increase in case numbers, and due to such situations, we have decided on this extension.
The extension comes after the US on Monday said Americans should avoid traveling to Japan because of the virus. However, White House Deputy Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre on Thursday reaffirmed the Biden administration's support for the Tokyo 2020 Organizing Committee's plan to proceed with the upcoming Olympic and Paralympic Games.
The travel advisory is an advisory, it's not a ban. But, you know, our position remains. It has not changed on the Olympics. You know, we respected the decision to delay the Olympics, the Games last summer, and we understand the careful consideration that the Japanese government and the International Olympic Committee are weighing as they prepare for the Tokyo Olympics that's just coming up right around the corner.
Japanese officials, Olympics organizers, and the International Olympic Committee have said the Games would go ahead under strict virus prevention measures. IOC President Thomas Bach has said 80% of the 10,500 athletes expected in Japan would be vaccinated. Delegates must also be tested before and after arrival. International spectators will not be allowed for the Games, but some 90,000 people, including athletes and their delegates, will be coming. No decision has been made yet on domestic fans. Meanwhile, Tokyo 2020 Organizing Committee President Siko Hashimoto told a news conference she had received pledges from India and 5 other countries to vaccinate all their Olympic delegates. Japan has seen a record number of COVID-19 patients in critical condition in recent days, even as the number of new infections has slowed. Japan has recorded about 727,000 coronavirus infections and 12,597 deaths so far. About 6% of its population has been vaccinated, the lowest among the world's larger, rich countries. The Olympic Games was originally scheduled to begin on July 24, 2020, but they were postponed due to the pandemic. The 2020 Summer Olympic Games are now scheduled to take place in the Japanese capital Tokyo between July 23rd and 8th August 2021. Bureau Report, DD India.
Britain's medicine regulator has approved Johnson & Johnson's COVID-19 vaccine for use, the Health Ministry of UK said in a statement on Friday, making it the 4th COVID-19 shot available for use in the country. Britain also cut its order for the single-dose shot, also known as J&J unit Janssen's vaccine, amid issues with the company's supply chain and reports of rare blood clots. Britain has given 2/3 of the population a first dose of COVID-19, and the government cited the unprecedented scale and pace of the rollout as the reason behind the decision to cut its order to 20 million doses from the original order for 30 million doses. J&J's vaccine is already approved in the US and EU, where reports of rare blood clots are being reviewed. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson called Johnson & Johnson's COVID-19 vaccines approval for use a welcome news. In a tweet, Johnson said that this is very welcome news and another boost to our hugely successful vaccination program. As we encourage everyone to get their jabs, the single-dose Janssen vaccine will play an important role in helping us protect people from the virus. When you get the call, get the jab. And with that, we come to the close of this edition of Newsnight. Do remember to keep your masks on, keep washing your hands, keep using sanitizers, and maintain social distancing. Thanks for watching.